members of the Presidential Task Force, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen of the press, I've asked the Director of Press to really run with this program because we are running far behind schedule, and our apologies, but we have a lot of issues that we wanted to deal with. However, I welcome you all to the national briefing by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 for Thursday, 20th August 2020. This morning, Nigerians woke up to the stark reality that our confirmed cases of COVID-19 have crossed the 50,000 mark, standing at 50,488, and a death toll of 985, bringing us close to the unenviable record of 1,000 fatalities. These records are not landmarks to be celebrated, especially as every single death further underscores the grief and pains of families and friends, scattered lives that could have contributed to national development and are bridging God's purpose for the lost souls. This is aptly demonstrated by the fact that 14 of these paid the supreme sacrifice as they were doctors who toiled daily to save lives. We have continually prayed for the repose of all that lost their souls and worked to ensure that their death are not in vain. The most edifying tribute and respect we can pay to these people is to do the basic minimum in avoiding such fatalities in the future. The Presidential Task Force will therefore not fail to continue on the path of moral persuasion, because the superiority of personal conviction on grounds of morality remains a more effective and dignified approach in appealing to our individual and collective conscience on the need to wear our mask properly, maintain social distancing, avoid crowded places, and continue to maintain personal hygiene. It is hoped that when implementation of the new policy on ethics and integrity that was approved by the Federal Executive Council yesterday commences, Nigerians would have the necessary incentive and impetus to always do the appropriate thing in all circumstances. Because if we have relied on our all-age value systems of integrity, adhering to guidelines would be second nature to us as citizens. The coronavirus continues to display unpredictability, especially in its characteristics that show its relentless nature on populations that disregard common and simple protective measures. Such behavior has been amplified in the surge in some states of the United States of America. Similarly, this unpredictability is reflected in the last 24 hours when Plateau State witnessed the highest daily number of confirmed cases. In the last 2 days, the World Health Organization, WHO, had issued warnings on vaccine nationalism and that young people are aiding the spread of the virus. The latter is more germane for us as Nigerians with over 80% youthful population and should give us more cause to be on our guard. It would border on extreme selfishness for our youth to believe that since they are asymptomatic carriers, they can carry on with life as they please. More so, that being asymptomatic does not guarantee immunity forever. The Presidential Task Force is, however, encouraged by the fact that majority of our youth are in the vanguard of this fight and still call on the few non-conforming ones to join in the fight. This call becomes more imperative when we realize from an initial 10 hotspot local government areas in the country, we moved to 16 and now have 20 of such, indicating spread to other areas. More worrisome is the fact that the initial hotspot areas were easily accessible to medical support, albeit the new ones are areas more removed from such medical support. Furthermore, the recent case of infection among students sitting for the senior secondary school examination calls for more vigilance by the education sector and all of us. So far, our national response has shown that Nigeria is following the science through effective case management, but need to improve on our testing. Our testing infrastructure has been increased to undertake up to 15,000 tests per day, but we are currently testing between 3,000 to 6,000 daily, due mainly to people still not subjecting themselves for testing. I therefore want to seize this opportunity to enjoin Nigerians to get tested. The Presidential Task Force continues to analyze and rely on data to forestall any sign of upsurge and adapting best global practices to sustain our successes. That Nigeria, along with South Africa, Kenya, Ghana, and Algeria, contributed to the recorded lowest weekly coronavirus confirmed cases is a testament of our successes. The challenge, therefore, remains for us to improve on the path of driving the pandemic out of Nigeria so that we can go back to our normal lives as soon as possible. We are happy to inform you that our partners are still providing us with support to fight the pandemic. And the recent novelty by the German Federal Foreign Office, who donated 54,000 euro worth of PPEs to be locally produced to the Nigeria Immigration Service and the Ministry of Aviation, looks quite exciting. We want to thank the people and the government of the Federal Republic of Germany and also encourage our local manufacturers to rise up to the challenge and produce more PPEs of international standard. As we further open up the aviation sector with the planned operation of international flights anytime from the 29th August 2020, beginning with the Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport here in Abuja and the Murtala Muhammad Airport in Lagos, the Presidential Task Force seeks the cooperation of all stakeholders to work at arriving mechanisms that will be mutually beneficial to all stakeholders. The Honorable Minister of Aviation or his representative will further provide details in the course of this briefing. Let's keep arming the indefatigable spirit of Nigerians, and that is the spirit to win this war and drive the virus out of our land, or systematically contain it as much as we can do until vaccine or any form of cure shows up. I now have the honor to call on the Honorable Minister of Health, thereafter the representative of the DG of the Nigerian Center for Disease Control and the National Coordinator to provide us with the necessary details. I thank you so much for your attention and have a very good evening.